Hello, my name is Chloe. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my May wrap up. So as you've probably seen from my channel, May was the month of the Vampire Diaries readathon that I was hosting, and I had 15 prompts to fill. So 15 different books. And I can say that I successfully achieved this and actually went above and beyond. So I'm really proud of myself, proud of the reading I got done. Overall, my stats were just up. So I read 18 books, which is 6 more than April. I read 6,838 pages, which is an increase of 61%. I read 221 pages per day on average, which is a 56% increase. And even the books I was reading averaged at longer because I read an average of 380 pages per book, which was up 7%. My ratings went as follows. I had one book that I didn't rate, 1 1 star, 1 2 star, 6 3 stars, 3 3.5 stars, 2 4 stars, and 4 5 stars. For me to have 4 5-star reads is amazing, and it actually meant that my average rating was exactly the same as April. It was 3.5 stars. So starting with the book that I didn't rate, we have On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and sadly this just wasn't for me. I didn't really understand what I was supposed to be getting out of this book, and it sounds so harsh, but it just really wasn't my thing. We're following a young man, Little Dog, who is writing basically a letter to his mother, and I don't really understand what was going on. Because I didn't understand it, I've just given it no rating. It was clearly not the book for me. I wasn't enjoying it, but I wanted to read it. I got this as a lovely gift, so I'm very appreciative to have had the opportunity to read this, but it wasn't for me. No rating. Let's not bring reviews down because I didn't get it. Next up though, a book that I genuinely did hate, and it will be in my worst books of the year list. I should say we're going to do rapid fire because I've got 18 books to review, and I don't want to keep you longer than half an hour is my aim. I'm pointing here because that's where my timer is, but yeah, I want to do this in one take. So the 1-star review, the book I hated was The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. This was actually my book for the prompt of a lowly rated book, and it was the lowest rated book on my shelves. It has like a 2.85 average rating, so I didn't go in with the highest expectations, but genuinely I don't know how this book was published. I could not tell you how this got to be on my shelves. We're following a group of people who get locked in an attic for a very short expanse of time, but it's very dramatic, and there is a secret between the group that is told. It's very dramatic, but it is the lowest stakes secret I think you've ever heard in your life. I have told a few people in spoilery discussions what the secret actually is in this, because people are intrigued when I say that. Trust me, it's just bad. It's just bad. Next up, a 2-star that was very disappointing for me is The Beast by Katie Roberts. So I have a very mixed bag with the Wicked Villains series. This is number 3 or 4, I think maybe 4, number 4. And yeah, sadly it just wasn't for me. These are all Disney retellings, but just pure smut. So they're filth. They are genuinely filth. This one though, just nothing about it really appealed to me. There was nothing in the romance that I was like, oh, I really enjoy this part, or this is something that's exciting to me. It was just So 2 stars. Not for me, this one. 3 stars. There are 6 of them, so we might have to speed through a little bit. The first one is Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is book 2 in the Plated Prisoner series that starts with Guild. I have the first 3 in this series. I'm going to read the 3rd just for completeness, but I really do feel like it's a very meh series for me overall. It is King Midas inspired fantasy. So we have a plated prisoner, as the series title tells us, who has been gold touched by Midas, and she is completely gold but fully alive. And yeah, I just don't really, we've got some fae, we've got some pirates, we've got a hell of a lot of different stuff, but yeah, it just doesn't really do a lot for me. 3 stars, as we all know from my channel, means it's fine. This is a perfectly fine book, but it's not a series that I'm raving about. Speaking of though, one that I should probably lower the rating of, but for some reason I stuck at a 3, is The Serial Killer's Wife by Alice Hunter. This was the Patreon buddy read this month, and it really did nothing special for me. This is some kind of domestic thriller, and we're following a woman, well, the wife, who she's waiting for her husband at home. He doesn't turn up, but the police do turn up and they ask where he is. He's being questioned for a murder that happened in the past, and the people are gossiping around in town saying that the wife knew about it. I think one thing that you have to know about this book going in is when it says they're saying he's a monster and they're saying she knew, they mean playground gossip, not the police. And I feel like that really changes the dynamic for the book. I thought they meant the police. Very different story if you go on that way. If you want high suspense, don't go for this one, is all I'll say. I feel like I said is all I'll say and then said two different things. Right, next up we have Triflers Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce, which was the Chloe's Crime Scene Corner read, and I rated it 3 stars. This is a historical fiction. I think is where we got this wrong is this is not thrilling horror. This is a historical fiction based on the real life crimes of Belle Gunness. I will link Bailey Sarian's video about Belle Gunness because that's where I first heard about her, and I did find myself just wanting to listen to / watch that video again rather than read this book, which is a shame because this is very well written. A lot of effort and research has gone into this, I'm sure. It's true crime inspired historical fiction, and I think one thing that would have been great, which would have really pulled us out of the story really, but just is a little flag somewhere where we know what's real and what's not, because I found myself thinking, really, is that true? And I don't know. I'm gonna have to do more research to find out the correct answer. So yeah, Belle Gunness, fascinating woman. Not sure how true this is. It was good, 3 stars, it was good. It just wasn't amazing. Next up we have Untamed by PC and Kristen Cast. This is book number 4 in the House of Night series, and yeah, 3 stars. I enjoyed it. This is a very easy YA vampire story. We're following the House of Night, where fledgling vampires go for an education before they become fully fledged vampires, hence fledgling. We're following Zoe Redbird as our main character, who has special gifts from the goddess Nyx, and she has got a lot of responsibility on her for somebody who is very new to the school. Book 4 is only 2 months into her journey at the school, and some horrible and dramatic things have happened. So yeah, I'm excited to carry on reading the series and see where it goes next. I did read these books as a teenager, but I have pretty much no memory, so I'm enjoying reading them again for what feels like the first time, but they're not anything special, so 3 stars. Then we have When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandia Manon, which again, 3 stars. This is a YA contemporary. It's at the upper end of YA because the characters are 17, 18, but it doesn't tell you anything too like seedy about the relationship that makes it feel new adult. So this is probably the level where as a teenager I would have thought this was scandalous, but really it is probably quite age appropriate. Dimple wants to go away to college and be this success in the tech industry by herself, but Rishi is from a more traditional family and he's taking on those traditional roles where he is interested in an arranged marriage. The marriage is kind of lightly set up between Dimple and Rishi is way more invested than Dimple. They get to meet at a college course over the summer, and yeah, are they going to be friends? Are they going to be in a relationship? I'll let you guess. It was perfectly fine, just nothing outstanding, in my opinion. And the final 3-star read I had was The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. This is another historical fiction. Like, I don't know what I was doing this month. We're following, oh my god, what was her name? It's completely gone. Lillian in 1919, who is working as an artist model, so she models for like sculptures. Then we're following Veronica 50 years later, who encounters the same family that Lillian ended up working for after her career as a model. So it's a lot of how did modeling for sculptures work. And then there's also a mystery of the family diamond. It's not a diamond. Is it a diamond? I want to say diamond. That has got lost. And our current day in the 60s are trying to find this diamond that was hidden back in the late 1910s. Can you have a historical cozy mystery? Is that where I'd maybe put this book? There's a lot of romantic trysts in this as well, which is kind of fun, but nothing too like steamy and romantic. Not a bad book by any means, just not really my thing. Next up, 3.5 stars goes to One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This was actually a reread for me and it was pretty good. I didn't see the twist coming, which is very interesting when I've already read this book once, so it really calls into question how much attention I paid to books 4 or 5 years ago. It's kind of The Breakfast Club meets mystery thriller. I do really like this book. I'm going to read One of Us Is Next, which is next in the series, and then the rest of Karen M. McManus's books are completely independent. So I will see what I feel about One of Us Is Next to determine whether I keep these books or not. It's a perfectly good mystery thriller. It's just not outstanding. I've said outstanding like 8 times. It's perfectly good. It just doesn't like break any barriers and do anything crazy. Next up, one I'm pretty sad about is To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. So this is book 5 in the Bridgerton series, and I have given every book in this series so far 4.5 or 5 stars. So to give one 3.5 feels so weak. This follows Eloise Bridgerton and Sir Philip Crane. It was a perfectly acceptable, perfectly good historical romance, but it just isn't anything else like comparatively with the rest of the Bridgerton books. Some of those are like the best romances I've ever read, so to have one just kind of be was a little bit of a letdown. Did enjoy my time reading this. I am going to continue with the series. I'm going to keep this one so I can have all the Bridgerton books together, but yeah, it just didn't do anything fantastic for me. The final 3.5 star book I read was Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is a mafia romance, and it was actually pretty fun. So we're following, what was her name? Ada, who crashes a party at the Griffin Mansion. You have the Gallows and the Griffins, and the Gallows crash the Griffin party. And basically how this all gets solved is that she then gets betrothed to the eldest son of the Griffin family, even though they're like mortal enemies. Very just Romeo and Juliet vibes, but they're not actually in love. Haters to lovers, but Romeo and Juliet. Does that make any sense? It was perfectly good. There was nothing bad about this romance. It was very interesting. There were quite high stakes throughout, but it just, yeah, didn't leave a lasting impact on me. Moving in to the 4 stars, so we're now in the 6 best books of the month. Number 6 we'll go with was The House by Christina Lauren. This is weird. This is a horror, mildly romance, YA. Odd book, very odd book. We're following Delilah and Gavin. Delilah has been away at boarding school but has now come back to the public school environment, and when she was there originally she made friends or had a crush on Gavin. She's now back, still continuing this crush on Gavin, but Gavin lives in a house where everything seems to be doing its own thing. Doors are opening themselves, and she's never actually seen his mum. So we're following the 2 of them as they embark on a new little teenage romance. But is the house alive or is it not? Kind of Monster House vibes for teenagers because there's a romance thrown in. I loved Monster House as a kid, but yeah, this was so weird. I gave it 4 stars, but I don't think I'm going to keep this copy because I can't see myself rereading this in the future. But it was just so different that I enjoyed it. So do I keep it? I don't know. This is very much on the edge of unhaul. Like, do I need it or do I not? I probably don't need to keep it, but am I going to? I think I'm going to keep it because one part of this really did spook me and it was making me quite anxious. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. 4 stars. It was good. Would I recommend it? I'm not sure. If you're kind of on the Mindy McGuinness level of weird that I am, you might quite like this. Next up, the final 4 star was Twisted Games by Anna Huang. So this is book 2 in the Twisted series that starts with Twisted Love. This is a romance between a princess and a bodyguard. It feels very Princess Diaries-esque, but with smut. The smut was fantastic. This was very good smut. I did enjoy it. We're in a society where the princess can only marry into royalty. So the prince above her has abdicated so that when their grandfather dies, who is currently the king and they are next in line of the throne, that he can marry a commoner. So he's abdicated, passed the role on to his little sister, but she just happens to be falling in love with her bodyguard, who obviously is a commoner. Did enjoy it, would recommend. Really excited to read the rest of the series. I can't remember who the next 2 books are about, but yeah, this one was better than Twisted Love in my opinion. And next up, 5 stars, and one that was very surprising. And would it be 5 stars if I really sat to think about it? Probably not, but I had a fantastic time with Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This book follows a young couple who are viewing a property, and as they get out towards it, there is a blizzard, like full-blown snowstorm, and they get stuck at the property. It's a very isolated mansion, and it originally belonged to a psychiatrist, therapist / writer who went missing several years ago. In the house, Trisha, who is one of the newlywed couple who's gone to view, stumbles upon tapes that the therapist used to keep. It was so interesting. Many twists and turns. I actually can't remember, looking back, what happened. Like, who is the bad guy, who is the good guy, why are they stuck, why are they there in the first place. I can't remember all of those things. So I feel like this is going to be a really, really good thriller to reread, because I'm still going to be guessing the twists and turns and I'll probably get them wrong. Next up, we have Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. So this was actually my 5-star prediction for the Vampire Diaries readathon, and it won. This is a 5-star. This is a marine romance, and anything you guys will know about me, if you know anything about my personal life, is I am down for a long distance relationship if it is done well. So here we have a marine, and this actually doesn't focus too much on being in a long distance relationship, but what it does focus on is how do you deal with knowing that you have a limited amount of time left. Do you pursue a relationship or do you just try and get over it? And that was basically the situation I was in, but I only had like 10 days, not a month. So we're following, what were their names? Jessa and Kit. So Jessa is, her brother is Riley. Yes, her brother is Riley and his best friend is Kit. Riley and Kit are both in the Marines. They come back from a tour, and Jessa is like freshly 18 and Kit is a few years older than her. So she basically has had her sights on him for a few years. Now that she's an adult, are they going to pursue it? If they do pursue it, which I wonder if they do, how are they going to deal with the fact that they're going to be separated in 4 weeks while he goes off to do some deadly mission? Like, I don't know. I just loved it. I just loved it. This is in my top 10 romances of all time now, I think. Yeah, it is. Next up, a 5-star that kind of surprised me with how unmotivated I was to read it is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. So this is book 4 in the Throne of Glass series, and I had an absolutely amazing time with this. I was so scared to read it. I wasn't sure if I was going to get into it, how long it was going to take me to read, but I read this in 2 days. It is 645 pages and I had a thoroughly good time reading it. The live show for this won't be until the 10th of June, I think it is. So over a week after this video is posted. I will link the live show down in the description, so make sure you go and check that out if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this book. I won't duplicate my thoughts here. And last but not least, the probably most surprising 5-star read, because I didn't know I was going to be reading it this month, and then I did not know how much I would love this. I am still thinking about it. I am still obsessed. It's Heartless by Elsie Silver. So this is book 2 in the Chestnut Spring series, starting with Flawless. Flawless I gave 4 stars, did really enjoy it. But Heartless, I still feel a little bit sick. I'm that giddy over it. This is an age gap romance, an age gap single dad, small town America romance. And oh my God, I absolutely loved it. I don't have coherent thoughts. This was so easy to read that I just devoured it. I read the whole thing in one night. I think it took me about 4 hours to read it. We've got a nanny and a single dad in small town America. She's a city girl. If we take city girl and small town America, like rugged man, that is just what I want in every romance. So throw in an age gap and I am like flustered continuously, like constantly flustered. Absolutely love this book. Would highly, highly recommend it. Flawless is still good, number 1, but this one just smashed it out the park, and I really hope the next 3, yeah, there's 3 more in the series, just match up to this because it was amazing. So there we have it. Those are all of the books I read in May. Let me know what was your favorite book of May. I would love to hear about all these amazing books that everyone is reading. I feel like May, I finally got the reading bug back a little bit, and hopefully I can replicate that again in June. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really, really do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.